Hi everyone, this is Dragon Qiubai. This is the 9th episode of Module Review Update, containing new modules from April and May. I updated the look of overall visuals, but the formula stays the same. You can catch all the timely update by using the online Google Sheet, and you can join the live discussion in my Discord server. Let's get into the action. First is Ascalon X. As an ambusher focused on movement speed reduction, the base effect joins her talent and skill 2 to provide 3 sources of speed reduction. Off skill slow up from 54% to 63.2%, and slow in skill 2 up from 81.6% to 85.3%. She's a very effective CC provider and I highly recommend level 1. However, she only gets 53 attack from the module compared to Mitsuki's 70 or 90 in 2 of his modules. The upgrades only increase the arts DOT by 1% and duration by 5 seconds, which honestly aren't too significant because enemies either don't make it out of her range or they just don't live through that original 25 seconds anyways with your setup, so would have been better if it were 2% more of slow instead. Next, Muelsyse X. This is mostly a quality of life module. You no longer have to wait for 5 seconds before Muelsyse can copy a teammate, so it literally is hella droppable now, and you can summon a defender to block the lane with just 13-ish DP. It also now copies the full 100% stat. Combined with the base effect, it will be tougher than the originally copied target when it blocks. Unfortunately, there isn't much offensive boost to Muelsyse. It's just around the 10% from the improved reinforcement, but I guess that's fair. Talking about offense, so let's talk about Vigil X. One thing you should know is that when he loses 2 wolf shadows in quick succession, the physical dodge can be stacked multiplicatively, so that would be 75% dodge chance. Improving Wolfpack's survival also helps out Vigil's own damage because for maximum damage potential, he needs to make sure that there are as many wolf shadows as possible and they need to stay alive. But its physical dodge only activates when one is already lost, and it's RNG. It's just not enough. Beyond that, there's also his lack of means to actively reinforce, as well as his questionable skill designs that are left unsolved. This is just far from good for Vigil. Next, we have Holoheia Y. This is a support-oriented module. She now gives weightlessness for enemy with more than half health, and arts fragile with less than half health. Finally, a full talent. Base effect helps shorten her skill cycle, like the 60 SP skill 3, or you can work with skill 1 and 2 for higher levitate coverage. But again, levitate does not relay like stun. Levitating a levitated enemy does nothing, so levitate as a CC is not reliable even with faster cycles, so that's one unfortunate thing about levitate. Then if we think deeper, the effectiveness of the upgrades is still limited. First of all, lowering the HP threshold doesn't mean much if you plan to push an enemy off the map anyways. You don't chip them to half HP before pushing them off. But if you plan to achieve stalling by shifting, then weightlessness losing effect when the enemy hits half health certainly doesn't help either. For the arts fragile debuff, maybe it's good in Caster Knights, but other than that, I don't see the reason why she's used over Reed Alter, who gives a 20% attack debuff and 30% arts fragile without the HP cap. I just can't imagine where you store an enemy until half health by shifting them, and suddenly switch to killing it after half health. From the damage side, the only advantage this module has over the previous one is when the enemies have less than 10 resistance. Looking at the comparison, honestly, both of them are kinda meh. Unfortunately, I'll have to say she's the weakest in damage output out of all 4 6-star core casters. But I also don't see the support-oriented module Y getting much applications outside of Caster Knights. So I'm gonna go with Module X level 1, which gives her a higher bar in performance. Now we are getting into the modules for May, and boy oh boy, these modules are something else. Are they here to satisfy the lore module waiting room and with all the popular characters? Or is it part of the stats inflation going into the 6th year of Arc Knights? We don't know, but All of these bring big improvement in numbers that are rarely found in modules before, and I will highlight them as we go through. First is Wis'adel X, the new undeniable physical damage ceiling of all characters. Shockwave +1 is a significant change for flingers because it always links to some mechanisms in their kits. For Wis'adel, it's to make sure the explosion from talent has a higher trigger rate by having 2 shockwaves per hit. It's a nice addition to her DPS and micro CC ability off skill. What's more different from other previous flingers is it also has great implications on total damage. Her shockwave in skill 3 has a DPH of 3,365, so even as a half off of the main attack, it's still a very powerful hit that you don't want to miss out. The module gives her about 47.2% of total damage improvement, a nuclear missile to a nuclear mothership. Highly recommended. Next, we have a Logos Delta, the most busted module after the 98.5% Rosam module, and this module applies to all enemies. This module is very similar to Abernholz's Delta module in what they do, but it's much more effective on Logos for 3 main reasons. 1. He has multi-target capability through his talent as well as with skill 3, so the necrosis damage can apply to more enemies. 2. He has a resistant shred talent, which is more effective damage that directly translates to higher necrosis damage. 3. His high attack frequency with skill 2 or the high attack stat with skill 3 ensures that during the necrosis burst window, he has the chance to put in more elemental damage that is not affected by resistance. He's able to reliably trigger necrosis burst with skill 3 to boss enemy with up to 70 resistance on his own. Overall, this module provides approximately 70% total damage improvement for him, and considering his powerful kit, full score across the board. The possible X module in the future is likely not as strong as this one because being able to trigger 12k elemental damage is already game-changing in the damage department, which you can refer to Abernholz's 3 modules comparison. His next module is more possible to go the arts supported direction, so for now I suggest not missing out on this one. Then we have our Lord modules. All of them are of the same branch of dealing an additional 10% of attack as arts damage. Starting off with Thorns X. Straight up, I should tell you that the additional arts damage does not trigger the arts DOT stacking from the talent, so 4 attacks for full stack is still required. This module provides a 43% of DPS improvement to melee enemies and 61% to ranged enemies, which is crazy as well. He deals 3,587 DPS to ranged enemies, which is a mix of 2,170 physical and 1,417 arts. This is already close to Winnar's DPS of 3,627. Impressive enough for an AFK permanent skill. The only thing I need to point out is that despite the much improved DPS, his physical DPH from attacks still doesn't increase a lot, but I guess the higher arts DOT kinda is a better solution, so if you still use him for AFK, level 3 is definitely recommended. Next, we have the man himself, SilverAsh X. Stats-wise, it provides 44.3% DPS and total damage improvement. Yes, it's only for elite and boss, but it does make sense because his skill 3 was the OG solution to those enemies, and the breakthrough in DPH from 2,462 to 3,230 certainly helped with that. Yes, it's no longer that outstanding, even less than Wis'adel's shockwaves, but it is something and it's solid. For the redeployment part, he now redeploys at 55.8% with potential 5. That plus the 15 SP startup for skill 3 is just 71 seconds, which honestly makes much more sense than waiting for 90 seconds on the field, so just redeploy away. If there's anything, can't say it's super good in supporting friendlies redeployment time, since I don't see dropping people in and out around him is something players often do, so it's mostly for himself. Again, level 3 recommended if you still use him, very good module. Finally, we have Qiubai X. Something we should clear up before everything is that the base effect does not trigger both Talon 1 and 2, so it does not cause the extra odds damage on bound or slow target. It does not attempt to bind a target. Talon 1 in reverse also does not trigger another instance of base effect, so there's no loophole in this module. It provides a 29.5% DPS improvement by herself, and 33.3% when she's with Suzerain, which by this point should be a fixed partner to her. The extra 7 attack speed actually translates to 3 more attacks during skill 3, and increases the coverage of attacks that enjoy Talon 1 from 51.7% to 55.8%. So out of all 3 6-star lords, this module was the least improving one by their own, but good news for Qiubai is that she is the #1 beneficiary of Logo's support talent. In a Qiubai plus Suzerain plus Logo's trio, each attack from Qiubai will deal 3 instances of damage, 1 from the main attack, 2nd from the extra damage on slowed enemy, and the 3rd from the base effect of this module. All 3 of them will be boosted by Logo's talent, making Qiubai the core damage dealer in this combo. This, in my opinion, is the most effective, practical, and powerful combo right now in the game. For that matter, this module is also highly recommended if you have Suzerain and also plan to pull and build Logos in the same patch. That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for coming by. After following module updates for so long, this is no doubt the most mind-blowing batch out of the history books. Make your plans, save your blocks, buy the packs if necessary, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.